Four nations and four iconic jerseys are facing off. In lieu of an all-star game, the NHL is trying something new this season. As its players prepare to return to the Olympics 1 year from now, the league is staging its own international competition, the Four Nations Face-Off. NHL superstars are suiting up for their countries, wearing uniforms packed with deeper meaning and rich design details, all hiding in plain sight. Let's take a closer look right now as Icethetics presents Design Decoded: Secrets of the Four Nations. Well, it's been a while since I've expanded on this particular series, but it seems only fitting that Episode 4 would be a deep dive into the Four Nations Face-Off. These distinct looks exhibit the creative vision of the Fanatics design team, members of which also worked with Adidas on the 2016 World Cup of Hockey. We'll compare what the international competitors wore then with what they're wearing now, and see how often the past has inspired the present. Our examination aims to leave no detail unexplored, so settle in. February 2nd, 2024. With the NHL's best gathered in Toronto for All-Star Weekend, the league announces something very different for the following season. No gathering of its All-Stars, at least not in the traditional sense. Instead of elite rosters separated by NHL divisions, players would be assigned to represent their home country in a new event concept, initially called the 2025 NHL Four Nations Face-Off. The name was later simplified. Canada, Finland, Sweden, and the United States would go head-to-head in a round-robin tournament, culminating with a winner-takes-all one-game final, with the prize being this new trophy. By comparison, the 2016 World Cup of Hockey featured twice as many teams, including Czechia and a couple of blended groups. Team North America brought together US and Canadian-born players under the age of 24, while Team Europe united players from Latvia, Denmark, France, Germany, Norway, Slovakia, Slovenia, and Switzerland. For its new event, the NHL considered the top 6 countries in the IIHF rankings at the time, which included 5th-place Germany, who lacked enough NHL players to form a team, and 3rd-ranked Russia, who is currently banned from international competition. Those issues aside, a 4-team configuration also helped the NHL keep the regular season interruption to a minimum, with 7 games spread over 9 days. By contrast, the larger World Cup was scheduled before the regular season and involved 16 games played in a 13-day span. Given that the NHL usually only takes a week-long break for its mid-season All-Star events, this smaller setup seemed like a reasonable compromise. With those plans in place, the next step was developing a brand, followed by a slow and extended public rollout. June 8, 2024. The NHL revealed the event logo along with additional details about the tournament. While the 2016 World Cup took place in Toronto, Four Nations was set for Montreal and Boston, 2 more places steeped in hockey history. But the branding disregarded those locales in favor of a focus on the countries taking part. Designed by Fan Brands, a frequent NHL partner for major event branding, this primary mark gives us the event name, the year, and a designated color for each of the 4 nations. Canada in red, Finland in white, Sweden in yellow, and the United States in blue. The centerpiece of the identity is, as you would expect, the number 4. It's draped in the colors of all 4 teams, along with navy blue and silver. An alternate version of the primary logo drops the country abbreviations. Another key element of the brand is this puck, wrapped in the 4 colors and adorned with a 4-pointed star. And this secondary mark works in a pair of crossed hockey sticks and a circle with 4 4-pointed stars in each nation's color. The hash marks on each side make this a face-off circle. Even if the logos come across a bit generic, there is actually a fun brand narrative here. The 4 teams, the 4 colors, and the use of a puck, crossed hockey sticks, and face-off circle to reinforce the face-off part of the name. Along with the overarching event branding came standardized word marks for each nation, with and without the speeding puck. For anything more, like jerseys, fans would have to wait another 4.5 months. October 23rd, 2024. With the NHL season underway, Fanatics finally dropped a sneak peek at the jerseys by way of a short teaser video. We saw some details of the crests and the use of the puck logo on the collar where we normally find the NHL shield. At the same time, the league revealed the first few players who would represent their countries, along with the first photos of them wearing those jerseys. Fans briefly wondered whether there would be more to come, as in reverse color versions of each uniform or home and away options like we saw for the World Cup. But no. These jerseys were designed to contrast against each other, even using the same 4 colors as the previous year's All-Star sweaters. The photos gave fans something to chew on, but were accompanied by no further explanation or details. For that, they'd have to wait another 3 months. January 31st, 2025. Almost a year to the day from the announcement of the 4 nations face-off and just 2 weeks before the event itself, the NHL finally delivered the full picture, as the jerseys went on sale to the public. This is where we really get to delve into all of the details. For each team, I'll read you the official design description from Fanatics, and then add a few more details. Let's start with Canada. Canada's jersey is red with maple white colored accents, a nod to the country's rich tradition of maple harvesting. Its front crest is highlighted by a 13-point maple leaf, inspired by the first representation of what would become the iconic Canadian flag. An arced Canada wordmark sits inside the leaf, and the sleeves feature debossed maple leaf vines, weaving communities coast to coast to coast. It's a great brand story with a design that's gone over well with fans. The details are really striking. The embossed veins in the leaf are a bit reminiscent of what we see on Toronto's jerseys, and the double stripe across the chest is almost one-for-one the Maple Leafs 2018 Stadium Series design. But all the red really helps hide any similarities. And take a closer look at the center red stripe across the chest and sleeves, with the debossed maple leaf vines mentioned in the announcement. That same pattern can also be found around the socks and inside the collar, known as the hanger effect. As is commonplace in international competition, Canada is wearing black gloves, helmets, and pants, the latter of which are adorned with a wordless version of the new leaf, with more detailed veins. I think this design is an upgrade from the World Cup jerseys. It seemed the intent there was to create a futuristic maple leaf treatment, whereas Fanatics was clearly aiming for something more retro-feeling here. But I still think neither of those touch the Nike design jerseys from the 2014 Olympics, still among my all-time favorites for Team Canada. Overall, the Four Nations design is a great traditional look for a country that is the focus of the sport. Finland's jersey is white, inspired by the country's vast winter landscape and deep passion for the outdoors. Its front crest features a split-colored word mark, which reads Suomi, the Finnish word for Finland, as well as a contemporary take on the national coat of arms with its iconic crowned lion set against the backdrop of the Finnish sky. The split coloring in the word mark and on the sleeves represents where the sky meets the horizon. Additional details include the Convallaria Majalis, the country's national flower, debossed on the sleeves and on the interior neckline. What the release doesn't say is that flower, commonly known as Lily of the Valley, is used in the sock pattern as well. The most significant departure from past Finnish hockey uniforms is the lack of red, the traditional color of the coat of arms. The crest is not entirely without red, of course, as we can see in the lion's tongue. Another nice touch here is the use of a metallic gold outline on the lion. The blue shield can also be found on the pants and helmet of the new uniform. When compared to other Team Finland jerseys, I think this one really rises above the rest. Its chief rival, if you ask me, would be the flag-inspired design from the 2014 Olympics. However, the World Cup jerseys were a bit bland and not terribly memorable. So for this event, Finland looks fantastic. Sweden's jersey is highlighted by the country's iconic colors of yellow and blue. Its front crest features a modern redesign of the iconic Tre Kronor, or Three Crowns, which is historically worn by the nation's hockey teams in international competitions. This textured design draws inspiration from the Swedish artistry of crown and armor craftsmanship. Additionally, a sleek stripe design inspired by the Swedish flag is subtly incorporated onto the jersey's sleeves. The flag is definitely a great touch, and let's take another look at those crowns in the crest. This is really beautiful work by the Fanatics design team, but it's not completely unique to them. The Adidas team did something similar, yet very different, for the 2016 World Cup. It's easy to look at the history of Swedish hockey jerseys and think, well, nothing you can really do here to change it up, and yet the most subtle of details can really make all the difference. By the way, those details continue on the back of the Four Nations jersey with the numbers. Just look at that detail. This is a phenomenal design. The only aspect of this jersey I'm not totally sold on is the darker navy blue, the color of the helmet and pants where the yellow crowns are seen. I really think the traditional royal blue stands out better against the yellow. Still, Sweden gets a gorgeous look overall for this event. The jersey for the USA draws inspiration from the American flag and features navy blue as the primary color, with red and white striping on the sleeves and base of the jersey. Its front crest features a modern USA block word mark with silver chisel detailing. On each shoulder is a single white star patch. There are 13 tonal sublimated stripes on the chest and back, each representing one of the original 13 colonies. E pluribus unum, out of many, one, from the Great Seal of the United States, is debossed on the jersey's sleeves. One item of note left out here is that the star patches on each shoulder are a nod to those on the uniforms of the 1980 Miracle on Ice team. There's also a repeating pattern of the full American flag depicted tonally inside the collar. And when it comes to that chiseled pattern in the USA crest, let's just take a moment to appreciate the detail here. This is intense. And it's not only on the crest. The same effect is applied to the numbers on the back and sleeves, and those shoulder stars as well. As for the rest of their gear, the Americans will stick to tradition, wearing white helmets with their otherwise navy blue uniforms. Those buckets feature a new shield logo that uses the highly detailed chiseling pattern. The pants have the same mark, but being embroidered, it doesn't have quite as much detail. The shield shape is also repurposed for the captain's lettering on the chest. All of those details are great, but my favorite might just be the gloves, in which the fingers are alternating red and white to look like the stripes of the American flag. A lot of fun stuff here, and a superb look for Team USA at this event. Overall, there was a great effort given to the Four Nations uniforms, even down to the nameplate and number fonts. Every team was given a bespoke design, which had to be a lot of work for someone on the Fanatics team, but it truly helps each nation have its own distinct character on the ice. In addition to those, there's one other element of these jerseys I found fascinating. These small tags on the back hemline of NHL jerseys were introduced by Adidas in 2021 as part of their Prime Green program, highlighting the company's commitment to sustainability. Fanatics seems to have no such program, or maybe they're just not interested in advertising it, but they have been carrying over the hemline tag as a subtle branding element. And it looks like they're doing the same thing with the Four Nations face-off. Details have been a bit tough to come by, but check out this retail photography of the USA jersey. Now look closer at the hemline. That looks an awful lot like the eagle crest on the American jerseys from the 1976 Canada Cup. So I took a closer look at the Four Nations official brand book, and sure enough, this is the actual logo on the hem. And every team seems to have one of these, but consistent details have been tough to pin down. The retail photos for Sweden and Finland don't show the part of the hemline that we need to see, but the brand book clearly shows this artwork. The Swedish design appears to be a classic Viking ship, which is also the symbol of the Swedish Ice Hockey Association. For Finland, it's this ornate looped square called a Hanunvakana, an ancient Finnic symbol used to ward off bad luck and evil spirits. The brand book does not show a tag for the Canadian jersey. However, this retail photo seems to show something, but the resolution isn't high enough for me to make it out. Maybe a snowflake. That said, a viewer who bought the Fanatics premium jersey sent me these photos showing no hemline tag. So I'm not sure what's going on there, and so far Fanatics has yet to give me an answer on that. Anyway, these are subtle features of the jerseys, but just another indication of the impressive attention to detail given by the Fanatics design team. It'll be a fun tournament to watch over the next week. And when the Four Nations face-off wraps up, a new era of best-on-best international competition is just getting started. On the day the tournament began, the NHL officially announced the World Cup of Hockey returns in 2028 and will continue every 4 years, alternating with the Winter Olympics. So, if you're a fan of best-on-best hockey, there is a lot to look forward to in the years to come. As always, thank you for watching the Icethetics YouTube channel. You can show your support with a like or comment, and be sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. That's all for now. See you next time.